system options and a transaction type and the transaction source. So till now, any doubt or any clarification, or we are good to go? Okay, maybe I'll start with this. Okay, so we start with auto accounting basically. So auto accounting has some bug inside it. So it's not basically allowing us to complete the setup wherein even if we give the transaction type wherein the accounting type and the accounts we have given it, but even after that we are not able to complete the setup. It is saying the same thing. So we referred with Oracle support. So there is a bug it seems. So as I said, so auto accounting is basically used to generate our accounting code combination automatically. So if at all we are creating the manual invoice, so we will not need this particular setup. So then it becomes an optional configuration. But whereas if we are importing the transaction from let's say order management, or let's say we have different system that from where we will import the invoices. So for those cases, we will need this auto accounting setup as mandatory. So I'll show how we will do or what are the configurations that we will do. So we saw this one transaction type. So yeah, I'll just open once. So what is transaction type? And then probably I'll go to auto accounting row. Okay, let me open what we created. Okay, so we created one transaction type for invoice. So similarly, we can create other four as well. So that is debit memo, credit memo, chargeback. So these things. Okay, so the fields are similar, which means configuration is same. So only for credit memo, we will have the credit sign. So apart from that, we don't have much changes to it. So similar thing. So we will give the naming convention here. So what is that we want to give? So in this case, I have given MRDS invoice. Okay, and I have selected this as an invoice, and I kept this as open so that it will be available for transaction. Okay, and then yeah, creation sign it is positive since it is an invoice. Okay, so generate bill is nothing but it is basically to print this particular invoices. So we have an option to print the invoices. So probably if we want to customize that particular part, so that is also possible. So adding the logos and changing the formats. So all those things we can do. So probably we will see it when we do a transaction. I'll show. So this is the option where we will give whether I wanted to generate that particular output or not, the invoice copy. Okay. And then we have application rule set. So basically application rule set is nothing but how we want to apply our receivable amount. So whether I want to use the equal amount distribution or I wanted to deduct first from line and then tax after, or I want to distribute equally, which means line and tax equally. So that's about it. So we will give this at multiple levels. So we can define at system option. So system option is nothing but our global or the primary configuration. So wherein it stays as an configuration for the entire business unit. So if I want any particular application rule set which should override my system option configurations at transaction type, so I can define it here. But this is optional configuration. So we can see here, so whatever we see in asterisk, so this is the mandatory option that we will have to give. So this is an optional configuration. So similarly, the payment terms. So anyway, we have enabled for this particular unit, and we will pick it when we do the transaction. Or if you want, we can attach it to the customer also. Okay. So that's about it. And apart from that, we attached the business unit and the ledger. So that is how basically system will understand. Okay. So to create the auto accounting, so these are the accounts that we will have to give. So we have given the respective accounts, but still there are a few issues there. So probably I'll show there. So how to create the auto accounting, and we will see why we are creating the auto accounting rule. Okay, so this is the navigation. So above transaction type, we have auto accounting rule. So auto accounting rule is used primarily to generate the account code combination. So as I said, for manual transaction, anyway, we can select it from list of values from distribution. But for a few cases wherein we are integrating with different applications, so system will not understand which account it should pick. So for that purpose, what we will do is that for each account type against each business unit, we will define the accounts. So defining the account can be at multiple levels. So based on the account type that we are choosing. So for example, if I chose tax as an account type, so I can create based on the tax setup that I have made, or I can give the constant value, or I can pick also from the transaction type. So there are multiple ways that I can pick. Okay. So primarily it is based on the taxation setup for the taxation. So if at all I have a different requirement, so that I can achieve through standard line also. So after seeing this, we will see what is standard memo line. So for now, so these are the options that we have to map our account code generation feature. Okay. So what I will do is that, so since I have created this transaction type, so I will say it is an transaction type. And let's say here I don't want to have a transaction type for department. So department I wanted to have always let's say 01. So I will say this is a constant value and I will say 01. So from where this particular value is picked up is that from the chart of account that we defined. Okay. And then we have account. So similarly accounts, if I want to select a transaction type, I can give it. And again for projects, so let's say this I want to pick it from customer site, so I can define the site. So similarly I can define multiple options. Okay. Yeah, so basically there
A
is a bug.
question here, just a quick
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so the value source is something that is already there, or you have to create that?
It is already there. This is a seeded one which is given by
Okay,
Oracle. So these are the options that we can select.
okay.
So we can select this option or we can give the constant value. Okay, so similarly, I'll select for the other account also. So here, since this is an taxation setup, we could see the tax also as an parameter. But let's say I'm selecting for a different account. Let me select for freight. So in this case, if you see here, so we will not have the other features, but we will have only 4 options. At the same time, if I select this as an, let's say, receivable, I will not have even those 4 options. I'll have only 3 options. So one is I can attach at, I can give the transaction type or customer site or salesperson. So salesperson comes under CRM and the other thing. So from there, basically we will pull in the salesperson details. So there also we can give this account code combination, that is receivable, revenue, and deferred tax and other details. Yeah, there is a bug actually, so it disappears, and even if we try to save, it's not happening. So probably I'll check on this one. We'll see this when we do the auto invoice and the other process. So for now, we will do a few manual transactions. So I'm leaving this for now. So when we do the import option and the other things, we will see those auto accounting rules. Okay. Yeah, so we have seen these 2 things, and apart from that, another primary setup that we will have to do is that receivable activities. Okay, navigation is that under receivable configuration. So we have common receivables, and under this we have receivable activities. Okay, so receivable activities are basically used for different purposes or the different kind of transactions. So here you can see that we have list of activity types that we can use for. So for example, if you take refund or write-off, or if I want to do the prepayment or the short-term debt, so all those options are available. But the mandatory for our configuration part is that earned discount and unearned discount. Okay. So first let me pick unearned discount and then I'll pick for earned discount. So the reason why we will need this particular setup is that if I want to set up my receipt method, so this becomes my mandatory option to give there. So that's the reason I'm creating it here, and then I'll go ahead with my receipt setup. Okay, so I created for unearned discount. Okay, so similarly, I'll create another one for earned discount also. Yeah, so we are done with creating the receivable activities. Okay, so these are the mandatory things for our transaction. So what we will do is that we will create also for the receipt based setups. Yeah. So under cash payments, we basically will have all those receipt-based configurations. So firstly, this is our mandatory setup, that is to create the receipt class and receipt method. So I'll just create one receipt class for our manual transaction, and then also we will create the receipt source. Then we will attach the created receipt method with the source. So this is where basically we will define whether this receipt will be manual or this will be automatic, or this is used for bills receivable or bills receivable remittance. So bills receivable is a concept wherein it is used for to capture the certain instruments wherein the amount is not received immediately. So the due will take time to receive it, but this will happen between bank to bank, wherein we will have this particular payment defined, and this is kind of an what do you call, kind of an agreement and the authorization. Okay, so for those cases we will use bills receivable. So apart from that, if you see here, we have two things. So one is that manual, and the other one is automatic. So how we have the option of importing the invoices. So similarly, we have option of importing the receipt also. So we have an option called logbots processing. So what logbots will do is that basically it is given by commercial banks to their customers. So wherein this will be a DLT format file. So we can use this file to import into our shared folder, and from there we can process and get into our application, that is Fusion application. So in this particular process, what will happen is that I will have to set up certain matching criteria, because that is how system will understand, okay, these are the invoices that I need to consider for creating, I mean, to create this particular receipt. Okay, so that is how we will set up the automatic route. Okay, so in manual, okay, so let me pick one automatic. Okay, so now if you see here, so we have option of setting the remittance method. So remittance method, how do I want exactly? So if you see here, so for manual, if I click this, so I'll have no remittance option also, since this is in manual. But whereas for automatic, if you see here, so we will not have no remitted instant. We will have the standard factoring and standard and factoring. So now standard we understood. So standard is nothing but a process wherein we basically have the bank and the other communication, wherein we deposit in bank and then the payment will be processed. So this we understand, and other part is that factoring. So factoring is nothing but the process of so this is kind of an short-term debt where we will submit our receipt, and with this receipt, bank is going to give us probably the 20% or 40% of the amount. So that is based on the agreement the company which the company has with bank. Okay, so this process we are calling it as factoring. So if at all I have this receipt method wherein it is unfactored receipt or the receivable, so I can select here as factoring. So let's say I will select this as an factoring or standard. So I can select this option. Okay. So for now, what I will do is that I'm not selecting these options. So I'll just explain it, and after that I'll select this manual option for the creation method. Okay, and then we have clearance method. So clearance method is nothing but after making the payment or after receiving the payment, we will receive a bank statement, and in this bank statement we will have the UTR. So UTR is nothing but unique transaction reference number. So with this, we will match with our transaction that we created in AR. So this could be a receipt that is created automatically, or this could be even the manual source receipt. Okay. So when I say receipt is matched with transaction, so this is when I will know that okay. So this is when I will know that yes, this transaction is cleared. Okay, so here we are defining how we want to clear our transaction that we have entered in the system. So it could be directly. So directly is nothing but just we enter the receipt. So this will happen only for the cases wherein we don't have any interaction with bank. So let's say I'm handling, let's say, the supermarket business. So for supermarket business, I don't need the net 70 or net 30 or net 7 or any such uh, payment terms. I don't need it. So I'll just walk into store and I will get the goods and I'll pay the money. So that is as simple as that. So for those cases, we will give directly. So which means the moment I enter this particular receipt, I'll see the status as cleared. So for those cases, we will say it is directly. And for the other cases, we have two options. So one is that automatic clearing, and the other is one by matching. Okay. So when we say matching, so it is through the bank statement. So we will receive the bank statement, and with bank statement, we will match this particular transaction, and we will clear this transaction in application. Okay, so this is how we will do by matching. And then we have automatic clearing. So automatic clearing is a process of clearing it automatically. So using the scheduled processes. So we will see each one of it. Okay. So for now, I'm just selecting this as manual, and I'm selecting the remittance method as standard. And here I have different options that I can select. So for this case, I'm selecting by matching, which means I'll create a manual bank statement, and probably what I will do is that I will match the transaction. So we have different parameters. So we have the reference number that we can capture from this particular page, or yeah, we when we are creating the invoice, we will see those things. So we have a special column, so wherein we can capture the reference number, and that can be matched with our bank statement. So we will see those things in detail. So for now, it is we are giving by matching. Okay, and then we have the receipt method. Okay, so let's say if I want to inherit a receipt number for debit memos, so I can use this option. So if at all, so this is an optional configuration. So if at all there is a requirement, I can enable this. So for what cases I will have debit memo generated is that for reversals. So we have two kind of reversals. So one is that standard reversal, and the other one is debit memo reversal. So if at all I want to carry forward this receipt number to debit memo creation, so I can enable this option. Okay, and then I will attach the bank accounts. Okay, let me create one bank. I think I created the bank in different operating units, so that's why it's not appearing. Let me create a new bank for this unit. my functional currency is Mauritius, so that's why I'm picking country as Mauritius. So based on the operation, basically we can select this banks. Okay, so we can specify the branch name, and apart from that, we have a few other options. So these are optional. So if at all I have these branch type and the other details, if we have, so we can have these details attached. Okay, so but these are optional. The EDI number, those things will come in when we have electronic data exchange and the other things. So that is when we will give these options. So that's why all those options are optional. Okay. Yeah, so we have created the bank and branch. So we will create the account. Yeah, sorry, it's not Mauritius, it is Metro basically. Okay, and then if I want to select the account type, I can select. So these are optional fields that we can use. Okay. So for India case, basically we will use this particular field as an IFSC code. To capture the IFSC code, we will use this field. So since this is an Mauritius-based business, so I'm not capturing all those details. So I'm just giving the standard mandatory inputs, and I'll give the usage rules. So I will use this for the purpose of payables and receivables. Okay. And then we have option to give the cash account and cash clearing account. So basically, when we will give the cash account is that when we want to capture either the payments or the receipt. So the end account would be cash account. Okay. So between that, we will have the cash clearing account that will stay as an control account. So control account, just one. Okay, pasted something else. Yeah, so cash account is the end account, which means we have received the cash from the customer or we paid out to the vendor. But whereas cash clearing is nothing but a control account. So control account stays as an intermediary account wherein it will say that this particular payment or this particular invoice. So this is not paid out yet. So that is an understanding to the consultants or the finance users to track the payments or the unpaid vendors or the customers. Okay. So once this is the payment is released and we matched with our bank statement, so that is when system will understand, yes, this payment is clear. So once it is clear, we will do the create accounting. So once this accounting process is done, so this cash clearing account will be knocked off with cash account. Okay. So now if you see here, so Just 1 minute. I gave cash clearing account. Yeah. So if you see here, so these are not mandatory options to give. But unless we give these options here, so we will not be able to generate the account code combinations. So then we will have to create a new set of accounts. So it is suggested to give the respective account here. That is cash and cash clearing. Okay. And then apart from that, let's say I'm doing this reconciliation between my cash management and receivable. So now I find there are few discrepancies. So this discrepancy is nothing but my financial charges. So when I do a transaction, so there will be a few cases I will have the financial charges, and the other few cases will be very minor. So the higher end I'll define it separately. So I have the transaction type and the other things to define it. But for other case, the minor difference in charges, so I will capture this in reconciliation differences. So I can use this account to track those details. Okay. And then we have other informations. So these are additional inputs that we can give to the system. So EFT is nothing but electronic fund transfer. So basically, bank will give a separate number if at all we are implementing with a payment gateway. So yeah, if but these are optional things because it's not that every company will have the payment gateway implementation to be done. So that's the reason. Okay, and then we have active status. So unless we give this, so we'll not be able to see this. And apart from that, we have two other accounts. So that is to give a multi-currency account. So when we say multi-currency, it is going to allow the foreign currency transaction also. But if we disable this option, I will be able to create transaction only with Mauritius currency. That is Mauritius rupees. And then netting. So netting, we will see it separately. So this is nothing but the adjustment how we do with customer when the customer becomes our customer also. So for those case, we have separate feature for this. So we will see this when we are doing the transaction. Okay. And then if I want to add the payment document, so I can add it from here. So I'll come back and I'll add it later. So before that, I'll explain the other options. Okay. So here we can see that we have few controls for our cash processing and the bank statement matching tools and the other options. Okay. So most of them are kind of an tolerance. So here if you see, so reconciliation tolerance if I want to give. So this is for the manual reconciliation that I'm doing. So there are two ways of reconciliation. So one is that we will receive the statement through the shared folder which we have integrated with bank server. So that is one possible way. So wherein we will do the automatic reconciliation. The other way is that for probably the immediate things that we want to clear. So what we will do is that we will do the manual reconciliation. So there, if at all there is a mismatch, so whether I wanted to enable this tolerance, so I can set up a rule and I can enable the tolerance. So these are the predefined seeded rules that is given by Oracle. So I can select any of this given rule. Okay. And then exchange rate. Let's say this is an foreign currency transaction involved account. So I can enable the account, I mean rate type basically. So this is nothing but our corporate or the different rate types that we define in GL. Okay. And then we have the reversal processing method. So let's say if this is an reversal, which means probably the insufficient fund or any reason. So how should I handle this reversal? So whether I should reverse or I should reverse with a debit number. So accordingly, I can choose these options. Okay. And then we have the automatic reconciliation rule set. So this rule will define how we want to reconcile this particular statement. So this we will see it in cash management separately. So for now, it is created in CMS and we will attach it to the bank statement, I mean bank account. Okay. And these are like the date selection for reconciliation and the journal level reconciliation. Okay. Yeah. So that's it on this. So apart from that, we have a few payable and receivable controls. So if at all I want to have this as an zero payment. So so the reason why I will use zero payment is that let's say I have to what do you call settle 1,000 or 10,000 rupees to vendor A. So now I realize that this particular item has been refunded. So now what I will do is that I'll set a reversal entry. So now, even though I have created this reversal entry, since I did not make any payment, so if I run the APTB, so APTB is nothing but my accounts payable trial balance report. So which is going to show me all unpaid or unpaid invoices of the particular vendor. So now, since I did not make payment, even though this is zero, since I did not make payment, it is going to show in the supplier outstanding reports. So now to avoid this, what I will do is that I will click this option called allow zero payments, and I will make a zero payment to close that particular reversal entry. Okay. So that's about the zero payment option. And then if I want to use the full account, so I can use this. Okay. So these are the things that we have under controls. And then we have security. So security, so security is nothing but so this can be based on the user, or this can be based on the roles that we have created. Okay. So if I want to enable, let's say based on security, based on the role, so I can enable these options here. Okay. So I can just select add, and I can give the role. So let's say I wanted to give this based on the role called receivable manager. So what I will do is that I'll simply select the role. Okay, I think I need to give the exact value. Yeah, basically if we give the role, so we should be able to get the details. So let me pick one for the user. So if so similarly, we will have to give the exact role name. So it will appear here. So we will select this and we will say apply and OK. So I don't want to restrict at this level at this point. So I will disable this option. Okay. And then we have the business unit access. So this is where exactly we are giving access to any specific business unit. So in this case, what I will do is that I'll give access to only this business unit called Metro Business Unit. Okay. And these accounts are populated from these place called the earlier one, the general tab. We created these accounts. So from there, it is being picked up. So I'll just say okay. Okay. So now what is payment document is that, let's say I'm processing this as an check payment. So what I will do is that I'll have the check sequence and the other things. So let me say this is check payment. So I'll create a check sequence. Okay. So here what I will do is that I'll select the standard check. So how system will understand is that the when we are defining the payment, so we will see those things. But when we are defining in payables, we will see these options wherein we will set up the payment format, and this format what we are attaching here, and in the payment process profile we will give these options. So both should be same. So unless both are not same, so it is going to throw the error. So it should be always same. Okay, and if we have created the payment category, so I can attach it here. So this is optional, so I'm not selecting this option for now. Okay, and then I can give the document number. So I'll just, so usually check number will be different. So we will give those details. But for our testing purpose, I'll give this dummy numbers that is starting from 1 to 999. Okay, so that's about the bank account creation. Okay, yeah, so we have created the bank account. So what I will do is that I'll navigate back to the receivable configuration and let me attach this backup bank account for the receipt method that we created. Okay, maybe I did not save, I think. Let me create it once again. Okay, so basically this cash account will be picked up from the bank configuration that we did. So if you remember, we attached the cash account. So from there, it is picking it. But apart from that, other accounts we will have to give as a mandatory. So the reason why we will need the receipt confirmation and the remittance is that we picked the standard option of clearing the receipt. So let's say if I have taken with no remittance, so I will not these options. So I will need only the cash account to clear my transactions. Okay. So let me pick the respective accounts. Okay. So if you remember, so these two configurations we created in receivable activities. So we saw there are two things that is mandatory. So one is unearned discount and the other one is earned discount. So from there it is picking and the account code combination. So that is picked up from the account where we give there. Okay. So that's about the receipt method and the bank account attaching and these things. Okay. Okay, so we have created the receipt, receipt method, and now we will create the receipt source. Okay, so similarly we have here also whether you wanted to select the manual option or the automatic. Okay, so I'm just selecting the manual because we don't have any integration between external application. Okay, so I'm just attaching the class that we created. Okay, so this is the class that we created, and similarly the receipt method that we created and the bank account. Okay, so now if I want to enable the automatic numbering or based on the manual option, so I can give either one of it. So for receipt, basically it is suggested to use the manual option because what will happen is that most of the cases the check number and the other details is what we will use it for recording the receipt number. So that is the reason I'm giving here this as a manual. But whereas the invoice it is different. So that is why. So let me create this as a manual and yeah, let me change the effective date. And we are good with the setup for receipt source as well. Okay, so now we have seen the receipt source and these things as well. So now what we will do is that we will create one customer. So the navigation is that under the receivable, so we have a different customer. So under that we will say create customer. So either I can create it from here or even in the dashboard infolets. So I have option to create the customer. So either way I can create it. So in this case, I'm selecting from here. Okay, and then we have two different types of customer. Either it could be individual or it could be an person. Sorry, it could be an individual or the organization. Okay, so firstly, I'll create the organization. So organization, let me say customer. Okay, and then we have the account number that is generated automatically. And then we have the account type. So either it is an internal customer or external customer. So internal customer is something within the company, and external company is the actual customer which we deal for the business purpose. Okay, and then we have the customer class. So customer class is nothing but it defines basically whether this customer is trustworthy or he's an average person who might pay or might not pay, or the least is the customer who will not, most of the cases will not pay. So basically we are defining our credit worthiness and the ratings and the other things. So based on that we will define the customer class. Okay. So here I'm just picking the existing one which we have. So that is consumer. Okay. And here, if you see, we have something called account address set. So when we are creating the business unit, we saw that we have reference data set. So even without reference data set, I can use the business unit to manage all those configurations. So only place where I'll have the issue in completing the configuration is customer. So here, if you see, I don't have any common configuration set. So I will have to give this particular configuration, I mean, that is created for either the customer or for the business unit. So either one of it, I should pick from the list. So I cannot pick the common thing that is available for the other modules. Okay. So I'll just pick the MRDS that we created initially. Okay, and then we have the address details to be entered. So I'll say this is an HQ main office. So the countries again, I'm not picking the foreign customer, so I'm picking local. So which means I'm picking this customer is from Mauritius itself. I'm not changing it. Yeah, it is here. Okay, and then we have details to be added, that is address purpose. So we have created the address of the site, but now system will understand this way, where if we specify this as an bill to or ship to, so this is how it will identify that yes, this particular address is used for bill to and ship to, which means when I send a bill after, I mean, when I'm sending this bill, so I will send to this particular address, and let's say I'm shipping my item to this unit. So probably that might be different. So what I will do is that I'll give this only for the ship to, and probably I'll create another one for, I mean, this I'll give it for bill, and another one I'll create it for ship. Okay. So accordingly, I can attach it. So in this case, what I will do is that I will attach this for bill to and ship to. Okay, so we have created one customer and also we have created one site for the customer. Okay, so here we can see two things. So one is that account and another one is site. So on top we will have the customer. Okay, so under customer we will have two accounts. So probably the one account also. So most of the customers will have at least two accounts. So in case we have multiple accounts, which means I'm handling with multiple accounts in the sense this account is the basis for the receivable amount from the customer. Okay. So from one account I could have probably the receivable of 10,000 and the other account I could have the receivable of 20,000. So accordingly I can split it out. But the customer can be same. Okay. So this is based on the accounts that we are defining. Okay. And under that, if you see, we have sites that is created. So site is nothing but the branch office that this particular customer is having. Okay. Yeah. So we have created the customer. Okay. Let me show this one. Okay, so what I will do is that I'll show a few options that we have under site. So similar thing we had it there as well, but I'll just show it from here. Okay. So when we are defining this auto accounting rule, so we had an option that site. So site is nothing but the customer site. So where we will define those account is that here. So we will say this is a reference account, and what we will do is that we will attach or we will give access to this particular business unit. Okay. Yeah. So we will attach this particular business unit. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was saying about the reference account. So the reference account is nothing but the assignment that we are creating. So let me say, so this particular customer will have access for, let's say, the Metro Business Unit. Okay. So now I can either assign it here, the accounts which I want to assign, or probably I can use it as a constant value as we saw in the auto accounting rule. So I can use either the constant value, or if I want to assign it here, so I can give those values. So let me give revenue and the receivable account alone, and probably I'll say this transaction. I'll say this record. Okay, so I have given access to this business unit. So based on the business unit, system will pick the ledger, and we have given the revenue and receivable account because to test the invoice functionality. So these are the two accounts that we will need. Okay. And apart from that, we will need a few accounts in terms of receipt. So that is the receipt confirmation and the other things. So those accounts we have given already in the receipt method setup. So if you remember, we gave the unearned revenue, all those things. So it will pick from there. So we will see what are the accounting entries generated and from where exactly those accounts are picked up. So for now, it is understanding that this particular account for invoicing, that is receivable and revenue, is picked from either customer site or transaction type, or it is constant value, or from the salesperson. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, let me save this. And apart from that, we have a few payment details also that we can give for this particular customer. If at all we have anything specific to this customer, let's say I have credit card details that I have attached. So I'll not wait every time, probably the 5 or 10 minutes to register. So what I will do is that I'll attach here. So based on this, it is going to automate in my invoice screen. Okay. So similarly, I can attach the other details of the payments as well. Okay. And the communication, those things are just an optional, so we don't need to create communication. Okay. And then we have the tax profiles and the other things that will be attached to this particular user. So if at all I'm using, so there are two ways of handling the taxation. So one is using the fusion tax, and the another option is that using the localization. So localization is nothing but it is a separate form by itself will have those details configured. Or probably if I want to use the fusion tax, so I can use this page. Okay. So before attaching the details here, what I will do is that I will have the tax configuration created. So after tax configuration, I will come back to this page and I will attach the tax code that I have created there, and I will give those details here. So we will see those details at later point of time. So for now, these are the mandatory informations that we will give to customer in order to create the invoice. Okay, so now what I will do is that I have given the basic configurations to create the invoice. But if at all I want to access this particular unit that I have created, that is Metro Business Unit, so I will have to assign the roles. So what are the roles that I will need is that primarily I will need the receivable. Sorry, I navigated a different page. It is security console. Yeah, so I will have to give the receivable manager and the receivable specialist. So I think it should be available for this user. Let me check if it is not assigned. So probably I'll assign this role. Yeah, it is already assigned, so I'm not assigning it again. So these are the two roles that we will need for the receivable transaction. So one is that accounts receivable manager, and the other one is that account receivable specialist and accounts receivable manager. Okay. Okay. So now what we will do is that we will navigate to the receivable infolet, and we will create one invoice from there. Okay. So here we can see that we have three options totally. So one is that invoice and billing. So that is the billing infolet, and other one is that receipt and the other processing. So that comes under the accounts receivable infolet, and then we have the revenue. So revenue is nothing but we have different options here. So that is uh, capturing the invoice at arrear and capturing the invoice at advance. So those features are there. So we will see those options. I mean, we will not be seeing. So we have different module called revenue management. So that would be entirely different. So this case we will see only the revenue component that will be attached with the receivable module. Okay. So primarily I'll start with billing. Okay. So here if you see, I have all those transaction that I can see. The reason being is that I did not customize my roles. So if I have customized my role, which means if I have given access to any specific business unit at my role level, so I will be able to see only my particular business unit specific transactions that I'm creating. Okay, but I did not give it. So I picked the standard role, that is receivable manager and I mean accounts receivable specialist. So that is the reason I'm seeing all those entries created from the different organization. Okay. So on the left hand side, we will have the infolets wherein we can see the immediate actionable items. So here if you see, one item is incomplete, which has created between 0 to 10 days, and there are 83 items that is been placed as incomplete. So this is more than 10 days. Okay, so similarly, we will have infolettes for the other details as well. So now to create the invoice, we have on the right hand side. So we'll click this and we will say create a transaction. Okay, so before that, I will have to assign the organization access to this user. So unless I do that, I will not get the business unit here. So let me go back to the setup and maintenance and let me assign this access to the user. Okay, so basically the screen is same, so that we call as and manage data access for user. So that is the reason I chose from inventory. So inventory based doesn't mean that it is specific to inventory. So we can select from the context. So if you see here, so we have specific to ledger, we have specific to asset book and all those details. If I say all, I'm going to see the details for all the role specific. So I'll just say add new one, and here I'll give the username which I have logged in. Okay, and I'll give access to both the accounts receivable manager and accounts receivable specialist. Okay, so the security context can be chosen as either reference dataset or business unit. So in this case, I'll pick for, I mean, I'll go for business unit. So ours is Metro Business Unit. Okay, I think access is given already. Let me check once. Okay, it is already assigned, so that is the reason we are not able to assign. But the process is same, so that is how we will assign. So once we have assigned it, so we should be able to see our business unit under the transaction screen. So I'll just navigate back to the create transaction and let me create a new invoice. Okay. So this is the unit that we created. Okay. So now, if I want to select, let's say, I created a different transaction source. So I think I gave MRP. Okay, yeah, this is the one that we created. So since we attached the transaction type with the transaction source, so once we select the transaction source, it is picking the transaction type as well. And for receipt, we gave as an manual numbering, but for this one, for transaction type, we gave as an automatic numbering. And in system option, what we gave is that it will be generated once we save this particular transaction. So that is why if you see here, so this is grayed out. So I'll not be able to edit or enter any details. So automatically the number will be generated once I save this particular transaction. Okay. And then I have, so these are like basic information. So that is the transaction date and the accounting date. Okay. And then currency, it is picked up from ledger. And then here we have the customer. So since we gave it for bill to and ship to, we could see both the details populated automatically. Okay. But it's not mandatory that we will have to give ship to also, because there are a few cases wherein we will have only the bill to information. So that is the reason bill to becomes mandatory, but whereas ship to is an optional things to give. So if we have information to give, so let me see this way. So we have the order management that will be integrated with Oracle, I mean, our accounts receivable. So in this case, what I will do is that basically I will attach this also. That is, I will attach the ship to name, because this will become one of my parameter to import those orders into receivable, and also to convert those order lines into one single invoice or probably the multiple invoices based on the requirement. So we will see how we can convert into multiple parts or the multiple invoices. Okay. So before that, we'll complete the manual processes. Okay. So now we have created these options. So now let me select an item from here. So if I don't have item that has been created, so what I can do is that, yeah, for this particular unit, probably I'll not have item that is attached with a different business unit, I think. Let me check once. Yeah, that is attached. Okay, so let me show two things. So one is that without item, and the other thing I'll show with item. Okay. Okay, so memo line again, we will see it after this. So for now, we are not using the memo line. So what we will do is that we will just give this amount alone. Okay. Yeah. So I'll do save. Yeah. So now now we can see that transaction number is generated and this is one. And also we will not be able to edit these transaction number and the other details. So what we can change is that only the transaction date and the accounting date, all those basic information. Okay. So that's about it. And what I will do is that I'll process it further, and probably I'll give the distribution details because we did not set up the auto accounting. Okay. Okay, so I have given the information of distribution as well. Okay, yeah, fine. So next step, what I will do is that I'll say complete and review. Okay. So after completing this transaction, what I will do is that I'll do accounting and I'll show what are the account code combination that is created. And also, yeah, now if I want to incomplete it, I'll be able to do the incomplete option. But whereas after posting this particular transaction, so if at all I want to do any reversal or anything, so firstly I will have to, let me show this accounting entry first. Yeah. So here we can see that debit we have the receivable amount and credit we have the revenue account. So since we gave only one line, so here we could see that is only one revenue. But if I have given multiple lines there in the distribution, so which means it is going to create multiple revenue lines, but the receivable value only one because the customer account is only one. We are creating this transaction against only one customer. So that is the reason we will have the receivable as one, but the revenue could be multiple. Okay. So this is similar to our payable, wherein we will have multiple expenses, but whereas the liability will be same. So the same concept. Okay. So now if you see, so we will not have the option to do the incomplete. The reason being is that we have made the create accounting progress, which means we have accounted this particular transaction. Okay. So that is the reason. And now if I want to incomplete this, I will have to first reverse the entries in the GL and then I'll have to come back here and do those process. Okay. So now, let's say I want to understand the outstanding and the other things, even though we have the details here. So if I want to get those balance breakups, I can see from here, that is view balance details. Okay. So here we can see that the original amount is 25,000 and we did not create any receipt and also no refunds or adjustments were processed. So now what we will do is that we will create a receipt for 5,000, which means we are receiving the amount partially. And also we will see adjustments and these things. So how we can adjust and how we can process the refund and the other things we will see. Okay, so firstly, I'll create one particular receipt against this invoice. Okay, so I'll go to accounts receivable. So from here, basically, I can navigate to create a receipt. Okay, so here we have two options. So that is standard receipt and the miscellaneous receipt. So miscellaneous receipt, again, this is an activity that is created in receivable activities. So which we did on the initial stage. And yeah, we will see this separately. So for now, we will take the standard option. So I'll select the business unit, that is Metro business unit. So now I'll select the receipt method that we created. Okay. So now we can see that the receipt number is user enterable. The reason being is that we gave this as a manual option. Okay. So most of the case, this is a check number. So what I will do is that I'll simply say CHK7812. Okay. And I'll say this is amounted 5,000. Okay. So other details are just understandable. That is transaction date and the accounting date. Okay. And then we have the bank account that is associated automatically based on the setup that we did for the reset method, where we attach the bank account that is Mauritius Bank. Okay. And then we have the customer account that we can add in here. Or what I can do is that I can add from here the remittance reference details. So wherein I can add the open receivables. Okay, let me add from here itself. Okay. So this is the transaction that we created. Okay. So the amount is same, that is 25,000. So here I'm not entering or I'm not closing this entire receipt. So instead what I'm doing is that I'm giving only 5,000, which means partial receipt. Okay, yeah, I'm done. So what I will do is that I'll say, okay. So now we can see the status as confirmed. Okay. And now what I will do is that, so for each action we have the create accounting process. So yeah, I can do this way, or probably I'll complete the actions and then I'll do the accounting as a whole. Okay. So here we can see the history of this particular receipt. So let's say I have confirmed it and then I have remitted it, and then again I reverse this particular receipt. All those activities I can see it from here under the history tab. Or if I want to see it from activity also, I can see from there. Okay. Since we don't have any activity, so that we did, so we couldn't see details. Okay, so because we just entered the details and it is in confirmed status. Okay, so I'll just save this and probably what we will do is that, yeah, let me account this, and then we will do the remittance process. Okay. So now we can see this accounting entry, that is confirmed cash to unidentified cash. Okay. I'll just take this receipt number and probably use it from there. Okay, so in the same place, we have an option to remit basically. So I'll just say this is an receipt remittance batch. So here I'll select the business unit that we created. So that is Metro business unit. Okay, so the remittance method that we opted for is standard. So I'm not changing it. So I'm having the same thing. And the dates and the other details are picked up automatically. Okay. And then we can attach the receipt class and the receipt method that we used to create the receipt. Okay. Yeah. And from there, basically, system will pick all those details. And the final step to add the receipt number that we created. So our receipt number is CHK 7812. So I'll just supply this. Okay, so this is the receipt amount that we created. Yeah, so we are we are done with this. So what I'll do is that I'll just click save. Okay, and I'll say save and close. Okay, so this is the one. So our remittance batch number is 1001. Okay, so what I will do is that so we have three process here. So firstly, I will have to approve this, and this will trigger an this will trigger an schedule process. So we can see that batch has triggered an program with ID. Okay, so let me check this schedule process, and then I'll come back and we will do the formatting. Okay, so this is not specific to our case. So this is the child program that is usually attached with remittance, because what will happen is that most of the cases, so the automatic receipt will be added to it, so that based on the batch that we are running, the system will pick for the available automatic receipts. So in our case, it is manual, so probably we will not need those information, but still, as a child program, it will run by default. Yeah, so our program is done. So we'll go back to the receipt screen, and we will do the format. Okay. So now we can see that this has completed approval. Okay. So what I will do is that I'll create a manual bank statement. So to create bank statement, we will need one role called cash manager. So I have already assigned this role to the user called Metro Express. So I'm directly going here, or else we will need this particular role to access these functionalities. That is bank statement creation and the other options. Okay, so to have this bank statement available for the reconciliation process, so we will have two options basically. So either I can create a manual statement is created for our understanding, but usually it is not the statement that is created there. So usually the reconciliation process can be manual or automatic. So either based on the business requirement we will do. So most of the cases again that will be an automated process. So here we are processing manually. So understanding is that we have already received the statement in our shared folder, and from there we are trying to reconcile our transactions. Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll create one bank statement. Okay, and I'll do the matching. So the I think we gave Mauritius Bank. This is our bank. Okay, so statement ID will come along with the statement. Okay, so for each line we will have for each statement we will have ID. So I'm just giving the random number for the statement ID. So it will be probably 8-digit sequence, I believe. So for the statement ID, again it will change from bank to bank. So I'm just giving the statement ID, and here we can see that the opening and the closing balance of this particular account. So if I want to give this, I can give. So for now, I don't want to give any balances here. Okay. So what I will do is that I will add these lines. Okay. So the booking date is today. Okay. And the value date is today. And the reconciliation reference that I'm using is 1. So 1 is nothing but our transaction. So there are different ways that we can use. So we will see in detail when we see cash management. So for now, to understand the receivable module specific transactions, what I'm doing is that I'm just giving the transaction number that we created. Okay. So our reconciliation reference number is what we call as an transaction number. Okay. So we can see here the status is unreconciled, and I'll just pick the uh, method. This should be check. Yeah. Okay. So now we have given, we have created the bank statement there. So now what we will do is that we will do the manual reconciliation. So we don't have the option of doing auto reconciliation because we will have to have the standard configurations there. So what I will do is that I'll pick this manual reconciliation. Okay. Yeah, this is our bank name. Okay, so we have a lot of transaction because what we did is that we created for few journals for this particular ledger. So that is also appearing here. Okay. So yeah, apart from the manual journals that we created, so we can see that so this is our reference number. Okay. Okay, so I think I gave the invoice number. Okay, so it should be actually the receipt number. So by mistake, I have given the transaction number. Okay, so this field probably I think you have understood. It is reconciliation reference number is nothing but our transaction reference number. So this is ours, and since this is manual reconciliation, so I can just select the respective reference number and select it. So in case of automatic reconciliation, so that is when system will have to understand that how this particular reference will be linked with this reference. Okay. So unless this both are same, so in case if I have done automatic route, so this will not get reconciled because the reference number here and the reference number here is different. Okay. So always we should make sure these both are same. Okay. So I have matched it. So what I will do is that I'll say reconcile. I think some form level issue because manual reconciliation we shouldn't have any issue. So probably there is something. Okay, so let me check this and probably we'll see the reconciliation part tomorrow. So what I'll do is that I'll navigate back to the receivable and we will do accounting and we will see the process there. And then probably we can conduct tomorrow for the remaining process. Okay. So now we can see here the accounting entries. So our initial accounting entry is that confirmed cash to unidentified. Okay. The reason being is that we did not do remittance and the other processes. Okay. So now we have the confirmed cash in credit side and remitted cash in debit side. Okay. So once we do the reconciliation, what will happen is that so this remitted cash will become our credit side and our cash account will come in our debit side. Okay. So this is the cycle. So here if you see, so the unidentified is nothing but when we say this particular receipt that we are creating doesn't have any transaction number referencing to it. So that is when it will generate as unidentified. So which means it has moved from unidentified to confirmed cache, which means we have attached some transaction. So we attach transaction number one. So that is why we have this account affected here. Okay. And then after creating the receipt, which means after we saw the status as confirmed cache, we ran the process called remittance. So after we complete the remittance process, after the approval and all those things, so what system will do is that it will change the status to remitted. So similarly, so this account will be picked up from the receipt method that we created. So these are the accounts that we have attached there. So only the cash account that we attached in bank. Again, the bank based on the bank that we have attached there. So system will pick the bank, I mean the cash account directly. Okay, so this will be the cycle in receivable basically. Okay. So we will see, yeah. So only the status should be changed to clear. So probably we will see this tomorrow. Okay. Any doubt in this? Or we are good? Or any doubt we can discuss, or else probably we can connect tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we can connect tomorrow. What is it the same time, Arun?
Yeah. Yes. Same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Then. Okay. Then maybe we'll connect tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks.